It's not live on Facebook, but I can't hear.
Okay, hold on. Afro Juju Live, that go at you. All right, let's see if we're live.
Yeah,
Afro Juju.
webinar is streaming live on Facebook.
Tàbí kọrin Afro Juju Tony oníkọlà ní ọjọ́ ọmọ kékeré
Ọmọ
ti dé o.
kékeré ti dé o. Ṣínà
We're
Peter
live.
Okay.
Jeff Francis Koya. We are live now.
Thank you. Yeah. Unfortunately, I
Oh,
can't hear the
that's
music.
Hey.
I can't hear the music, but I would.
That's
I can't hear the music.
The music.
No.
All right, hold on.
Afro Juju, the difference.
All right, bear with us, everyone.
There we go.
Hi. Okay. Oh, now I have it on my phone. We're live.
I'm gonna.
Hey. Olùdásílẹ̀. Olùdásílẹ̀ Afro Juju.
Ayé lè pa padà rádà wọ́n lè fojú ẹ.
Àwa youth yo. Inú wa fọṣọ ni young child. Hi everyone in Facebook land. See, okay, let's just keep it real. There are certain people and certain songs that come on and you all have no behavior. You have no behavior whatsoever. Peters is, well, Shina Peters is a Nigerian artist from back in the 80s?
Yes.
Song comes on. If you're with 80s and 90s. Yeah. And so when that song comes on, you have, it's like all common sense kind of flies out the window.
All your morals, your upbringing, your Christian-like behaviors, all gone.
Gone. Okay, let's reel it back. Hi, everyone. Me, Emenanjo here. I am the founder of Atlas Book Club, a book subscription box company focused on globally diverse children's books. And I am so excited, like to have my sister here. I love her so much. BC Menanjo. And you'll see that our last names are the same. So we're not blood sisters, but our husbands are brothers. And that's it. So BC is the founder, CEO of Agile Wellness, but I'll let her go ahead and introduce herself.
Oh, thank you so much, Bumi, for having me. Like, I'm so excited. I'm really excited to be here to join the conversation that I think is very important. So I'm so excited to be here. Again, I am the founder of Agile Wellness Group. It's a boutique wellness company that curates lifestyles, retreats, and getaways to the most beautiful cities in Africa. Currently in South Africa, Cape Town, South Africa. We also have one in Zanzibar, Tanzania. We're working on Kenya and Nairobi, Kenya. I even had Senegal to 2021. So we're very excited about that. Yes, so I'm also an healthcare provider, specializing in preventive medicine. I'm a mother, a wife, a mother of twins, boy, girl, an avid traveler, love to travel. My family, all we do is travel. Literally, if you know us, you think we live on the road. So we love traveling. I think I've been to over 25 countries. My kids are 11 and they've been to over 11 countries. So that's our life. We love travel. So thanks. I'm really excited to be here.
Yay. And I'm so excited. Y'all get ready. We're gonna dive into all things travel. global culture. We're going to talk about South Africa. So just, I know y'all have been missing travel. Like man, we travelers some kind of way, right?
Yes.
And if you've
Yes.
been missing travel and you just want a little bit of wanderlust back in your life,
There we go.
the room. So let's talk about BC's background for a moment. She's been very modest, actually. It's you know,
No.
she went to Howard,
Yes.
in medicine for 15 years or so. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. So she's been there. So she knows her stuff. And I love how she's incorporated travel, especially now in COVID times. I mean, who better to entrust your getaway to than a health professional who wears their mask and is aware and able to. But let's start at the beginning, right?
All right. Let's go back.
Atlas Book Club.
Yes.
Me, my kids, your kids. That's how this whole thing y'all are seeing.
Yes.
That's how it started.
Awesome. Yes.
And she has twins, a boy and a girl. They're 11, so about the same age as my daughter, and a few other kids. And we started Atlas Book Club right here in my home, and we would select a book and read it. And you remember the first book we read?
Yes, that was Seed of Change, right?
Seed of Change.
Seed of Change.
Yeah. And I think it was the story of Wangari Maathai.
Yes. I can never forget that because really, I mean, I knew about her in terms of winning the Nobel Prize, but I honestly weren't really into what she did until you picked the book for the kids to read, and we had to read it with the kids and all that. So that was very insightful, and I think added to my knowledge. So since then, build books. I mean, we've always loved books, but that's having that conversation and actually, getting that knowledge and that culture in was amazing. So yes, my kids, I think that was a good foundation, and thanks for that.
No, it brought me so much joy to them. I think we read Chike and the River by Chinua Achebe. You remember that? That's how this whole thing started. And it's such an incredible and joy-filled journey. Yeah. But so talking about the kids, like you said, countries, if you remember, can you just ramble off a list of countries y'all have and that you visited, and not just Africa, all over the world, actually? Yeah.
Correct. So we've actually lived in 3 different countries. We've been in the United States, we've lived in Lesotho, and we currently live in Cape Town, South Africa. Let's see, top of my head, let's see, we've been to Botswana, Paris, Bali, Singapore, Kenya,
Rwanda.
I mean, I can, it's just, yeah. Anywhere you can think of. We've been almost everywhere. And like I said, my kids are 11 and they've been to over 11 countries. So
yeah. I think that's, so here at Atlas, one of the things that we talk about is the importance of global culture and exposing your child to global. Right. So what would you say the impact of that exposure on your kids, and even now living in Cape Town and Lesotho, what would you say the impact of that has been on them?
Okay. So first of all, let me apologize because again, I'm in Cape Town, South Africa, and my connection can be a little fuzzy. So just bear with me a little bit as well. But yes, when it comes to global culture, I think one of the things I wanted to emphasize with this conversation is that we have to not only talk about global culture, we have to understand how important and how how it is more, it is very important for us to have that conversation, because in order for us to raise kids to become global citizens in the future, they have to have global culture grow around that. And for me, for my kids, for example, and again, let's go back, even as an healthcare provider, we understand how this started as a very early age, you know, and our experiences is actually what builds our opinions of others and the society. So as early as when they started playing with Play-Doh and started doing creative playing activities, going to school, traveling, you know, even with their palettes, eating different cuisines, or reading them stories, or having friends from diverse, you know, countries, you know, those are the things that build their experiences. And when you have kids that have good and globally cultured experiences, you actually have kids that are more, and I know you always say that, more empathy, you know, kids that actually are compassionate, things that kids that understand the differences and also our similarities, you know, kids that
Yes.
are able to forgive, kids that are able to break the one-sided story, you know, those are the things that that it brings with my experience with my kids. And I think I'll always say, again, I mentioned how I think within the past 5 years, we've lived at 3 different countries. And as much as, of course, the basic anxiety of kids comes in terms of leaving their friends alone, leave their countries alone, they're very open-minded, because they understand that, you know, even when I leave here, I can still continue that friendship and it's still fresh, because I am, the world is so big yet so small. The other day, my son was on the phone and I was like, who are you with? Oh, I'm with my friend is in Switzerland, for example. You know, so those are the
Yeah.
things that come into that, but they're very open-minded, very adaptable, very able to adapt very well. And again, they are shattering the one-sided story more than anything else. And I'm not sure if everybody can relate, but I think everybody should be able to relate when we talk about the story of, you know, how we Africans, exactly, when maybe your kids are wasting food and you're like, oh, don't waste food because kids in Africa can't afford to eat. And you know, it's one time I remember telling my kids that, and they're like, no, kids in the United States can't afford to eat. Kids all over the world can't afford to eat, because that's the one-sided story the media allow us to believe, you know. But you know, raising kids in this global you know, world that we live in, help them understand that there's one side to a story. There's more than one side to a story. So I think that that's been you know, an eye-opening for me in terms of raising my kids this way.
Fantastic. I mean, that's absolutely fantastic. And you're right. You know, everybody, based on what people are exposed to, they build one story. Like the media just tells one story about a particular culture or a particular country, but that global exposure, they're meeting kids from different parts of the world, they realize that, you know, this person is from Cape Town, but she's totally different from, maybe because from they're from different parts of South Africa, and they, oh, I just spilled my water everywhere. Okay, because I talk with my hands, I was like,
Well, we both.
yeah, it's okay. But Cape Town being, you know, a metropolitan area, people migrate from different parts of South Africa to Cape Town, so they're able to Cape Town, I mean, diversity of South Africa and other parts of Africa actually represented in Cape Town. And you get that. And yeah, not everyone is fortunate enough to
Exactly.
travel the way your family does. And I know I sell books, but I sell books for a reason. I say it all the time. A way to get that global exposure is through books. You
Right.
can get it through, you know, other forms of media, but books are so accessible, and it's something that children reach. Okay. Yeah.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. Yeah, I mean, even with travel, you know, when we talk about travel, travel is more than just going by air or by sea or by road. Travel is
Yeah.
different. It's by books, it's by going to the museum, it's by your palettes, it's by the cuisine you eat, it's by people around you. It's about telling stories and telling even, you know, our own African stories, our own upbringing. Those are part of travel, and those are part of things that builds our experiences again. that actually comes in place when it comes to global culture.
I love it. I love it. So now let's talk about, so talked about global, the different areas you've been globally, but you now currently live in Cape Town, which if you're on my personal Facebook page and we're friends on Facebook, you would have seen my husband and I visited family December of last year. We went to Cape Town. That was my second time in South Africa. And we'll show pictures later on. But stunning.
It is.
Stunning. I've traveled quite a bit. I have never seen anything like it.
It's beautiful.
Visual is just, and I think it's the juxtaposition of seeing like mountains and seeing that majestic mountains all within the same frame and the same landscape. It is beautiful. And it's not just like one part, like, I'm like, this is so disrespectful. Everywhere in Cape Town is stunning.
It doesn't matter. Everywhere you turn to is absolutely beautiful. It's either you see a view of a mountain or the ocean. So, most countries you probably see like one, maybe the ocean but here you can actually see the ocean, the mountain. Yeah. It's all in one. So it's majestic. It's beautiful.
It really is. I do want to acknowledge, though, again, talking about different parts of Cape Town, I do want to acknowledge that there are parts of Cape Town, that I was like, oh, wow, like I just visited the ocean and this part is more, what's the word, more we're underprivileged, and so, yeah, I mean, which exists in every country. Knowing the history of Cape Town, you can knowing the history of Cape Town, you understand, and we don't have enough time to get into all that, yeah, but there's certain parts of Cape Town that are just stunning and beautiful, where the wealthy and the, wealthy people live, and then there's certain parts where the underprivileged live, and just the differences is actually troubling and kind of opens your eyes to the differences in socioeconomic status that exist there.
And again, this since we're talking about South Africa, this also is part of the history, because this mostly happened during apartheid, when they really pretty much separated the white from the non-white and white, and literally put the blacks in certain urban settlements, which is now the township,
Yeah.
And put them in a certain place where they can actually not access, it's divided by railways and stuff, so they can actually, so they're really segregated, really. And so it's part of the history, so it has to be mentioned.
Yeah. And so, well, speaking of that, we know that September is South African Heritage Month. And tell us a little bit about that. Tell us what South African Heritage Month means, how that's celebrated, and what that's all about.
Sure, right. So usually with the Heritage Month, and of course, it's the month of September, and usually September 24th is actually a day that they actually celebrated, but the whole month has been celebrated. And really, it recognized aspects of South Africa, which are both, I would say, tangible and non-tangible forms. So it could go, and it's pretty much separate the diversity of South Africa, I think one of the main things that I always take out of it is when it comes to appetite, because you can almost focus on the negative sometimes, but I think Heritage Month pretty much celebrates how far South Africa has come. In terms of now being, it was a country that was segregated, things have changed, things are changing. I would say things are changing. And now, how do we move forward? So I feel like it's Heritage Month about moving forward. How do we separate the things that makes a difference and things that makes them similar? So it's, like I said, in more tangible forms, intangible forms. I'm talking about, South Africa has, I think, 11 different languages, and average South African are multilingual. They have, we have different, celebrated in different ways. And music, when you talk about music, arts, local performance, when it comes to different part of South Africa, languages, the food, the culture, is being celebrated and just kind of putting it together in terms of we are one and we celebrate everything that's different about us and everything that's, you know, it's solely completely not even similar about us. So it's about moving forward and actually celebrating this country that's come so far.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
No,
Yeah.
I absolutely. Africa is such a multicultural, multi-ethnic, you know, country with individuals from different heritage, from in South Africa. So I love that. And I also love the idea of celebration of different
Yes.
you know, of Atlas, like, you know, that exposure to global cultures, you know, yes, it allows more empathetic, but it also raises the bar for our interaction with people who are different from us. It raises the bar in the sense that the bar is acceptance. Yeah, yes, we accept people who are different from us, but we can do better. How celebrate people who are different, people who have different cultures. And that's one of the main aspects of Atlas and why we always talk about like different festivals. No, I absolutely love that. So speaking of differences and different cultures, really quickly, because I think this is the perfect time. We'll talk about some of my other favorite book sets in South Africa.
Okay.
Is one of my favorites. And I usually don't highlight for Atlas Book Club books that, you know, are very popular and books that, you know, are on the bestsellers list because I feel everybody already knows about it. I like to celebrate the more undiscovered authors.
Underdogs.
I have to talk about Trevor Noah's Born a Crime. This is
that was a good one. I was reading them like, ooh, ooh, ooh. I was
did you read the adult version or did you read the young?
I read both actually. Oh, I did. Because my kids had to read the kids version, so I had to read it first. So I read the kids version.
Yeah. So I actually have both. The same book I do. So I have the adult version, which I never read. I haven't read it. I just read the to read it. So of course I pre-read it and it is absolutely fantastic. And from what I picked up, I haven't read, not compare. However, what I do know from reading the youth version, it's called, what does it, for young, adapted for young. What I do know is that he does not dumb it down. I love books that respect the intellectual ability of kids and acknowledges that they can handle certain things. You know, he does not dumb it down at fantastic read. So I encourage you to, especially if you've read the adult version and you want your child to learn more about the history of South Africa, about how it impacted people living there, this is a really good one.
It is, and I love the fact that, you know, the humor that you brought to it, because it could be a very sad story, but you're just like just cracking up. But in the midst of him cracking his joke, whatever the case, maybe you're learning and you're learning about, you know, different languages, because it could speak different languages, you know. You're learning about even food, it's grandma that making tea and this, and so it's just, there's so much little things that you can learn from it, and about the diversity of South Africa. So I thought it was a great book. Definitely.
No, you're right. It really touches upon the diversity of South Africa. I didn't even pick up on that until you just said it. Book is about. Yeah. So let's talk about the different parts of South Africa really quickly. And most people, you know about Johannesburg, they know about Cape Town. And of course, there's more to South Africa than that, you know, so we'll talk a little bit about those two places. And so, you know, with Johannesburg, when I think of Johannesburg, I think Soweto, I think Nelson Mandela. And Nelson said this at the top of our conversation. Atlas Book Club this month is featuring South Africa, Nigeria, and Kenya. And our South African book has a tiny little, what's it called? Picture of Nelson Mandela in the book. So let's talk a little bit about that. Maybe this is a good time to show pictures. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think
this okay. So we're gonna attempt.
We can talk through it as well while you're showing.
Exactly. So you go ahead and let's see. We're gonna attempt this.
All right. Shit.
It worked. So
Yeah.
back in, when did I come to Soweto? 2008.
So, yeah.
Yeah, can you see the picture?
I can see the picture. So that's the Hector Pedersen museum, and that's in Soweto. It's very, I think it's very close to Mandela's house as well. So it's
Yeah,
really a
yeah,
museum that actually honor and actually talk about this what was going on during the time of apartheid.
yeah,
And this memorial is actually for school age students, kids that were actually killed during riot while rioting, you know.
yeah,
And
yeah.
there was a particular, which you can actually kind of see the picture of the guy, the boy Hector. I think that's
I have a, yeah,
exactly, yes. That was killed during the riot. So yeah, it's a must. It's must. You must visit if you go to if you're in Johannesburg. Definitely is a must visit. And they have so much different. They have different artifacts that you can read and letters from people and pictures and around the museum. That tell the old stories of what happened around that time.
I remember this day very clearly. I think we had first, I have the pictures in reverse order. I think we first went to Mandela House in Soweto. And I think it was the day after Winnie Mandela passed away, actually. Yeah. So this was back, I think, like April 2018. And yeah, that sounds about right. And I remember very clearly visiting this memorial, and it was just very sombering. And like Bissy said, this was the student uprising that happened in Joburg in 1976. And about 20,000 students participated in this, and they were protesting the racial language of schools. And as a result, I'm looking at my notes, like 107
Yep, over 100 kids. Yeah,
kids died, you know, during that uprising. So I remember this being a very sombering, kind of just emotional experience. So this is one, if you ever
emphasize on that as well, because I feel like this is very important, because when we don't know the history and we don't know where we're coming from and what the history, and we don't know what, we can't move forward. So it's always good to see this kind of memorials and museums to kind of remind us of what was and where we are and how the future is going to be better.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll go, and I want to mention, I should mention this in the beginning. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in the comment box. So let's see, let's go, just me over there. So this, I was trying to remember what this building or thing, do you remember? What is it?
It is actually outdoor. Which one is this? What pictures am I looking at now?
Oh, this is the picture of the tower. It says
that's the tower. Yeah. So this is the famous tower in Soweto that most people take their pictures. So most of the time, people kind of advertise now. Well, they usually have locals before that will come and do the painting, and actually it's very colorful, beautiful. Kind of tell you a little bit about history of South Africa. But I think from understanding now, they actually change it. Now it's now on like almost like a billboard where you can advertise business on it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And so very famous. Everybody must. I mean, it's very famous. We must get your own picture view there. But it's pretty much just kind of celebrate the hearts and of South Africans.
Yeah. And so just to reiterate, that BC's company called Agile Getaway is a company that curates different experiences with a focus on, you know, wellness, spirituality.
Yeah.
And so, go ahead.
Yeah, like I said, you know, you're right. So it's mainly, you know, our philosophy is health, spirituality, and exploration. So basically, when we say curate, we have, you know, customized travel for individuals, families. We have our group travels, and we also have
Yeah.
corporate getaways and retreats as well. So really all our getaways and retreats incorporate health sessions, health stuff into it, spirituality in terms of, yoga, meditation, mindfulness, and of course exploring, because that's the point of travel, one of the main point of traveling, right? So you have to explore. And the thing is just kind of creating that balance between having a vacation. So it's really having a vacation, but with wellness in it. And it's almost traveling, pretty much traveling with intention, traveling while your health has been taken care of, while your spirituality has been taken care of, because like I say, your body, mind, and soul, they're all connected, and all of them have to be addressed in order to live a life of wellness or wholeness, like I call it. So I call it the wholeness triad, which is the health, spirituality, and exploration.
And the reason I brought that up here is just in showing you this pictures, just to show you that, going with her company and planning a getaway through her, these are she's so knowledgeable in different parts of Cape Town, Johannesburg. And so these are some of the sites that you see. Oh, I remember this. So we went.
Yes, that's Mandela's house.
Mandela's house was his first house in Soweto, and humble beginning. And I mean, I remember how small that house was. The rooms were tiny.
He has his family, and they has kids. His kids were there too. It was his family, not just him. His wife and 2 kids. Yeah.
I remember thinking, how can 4 people live? I mean, it was. And this is just one of the bedrooms. And I love the fact that they've really maintained and kind of maintained the house, so you can have a realistic impression of what it was like when he was living there.
Correct.
So that's the outside of the house. Let's see. Yeah, and I included this picture. It is on there. April. I got to take my glasses off. 3rd. This is when you know you're getting old. It's getting
2018. Yep.
Yeah, April 3rd, 2018. That's when Winnie Mandela passed away. And so again, I mean, this was such a great experience to be in that space. And then shifting from Pittsburgh to Cape Town, which, I mean, that's such if you're ever going to South Africa, you might as well hit both.
Correct.
Right. And I mean, this is just stunning. I mean, this is basically looking out on the stunning view.
It's not photoshopped. This is real picture, not photoshopped.
Not photoshopped at all. And I just love the African penguins. I think I have some additional pictures of the mountain. I have some additional pictures of African penguins, which we'll get into. But I mean.
That's the Table Mountain. And you have a cable cart that actually take you up the mountain. It's and the mountain's a flat top. So it's one of the 7 wonders of the world, actually. It's a must visit if you're here in Cape Town, South Africa. And if you are active and you do want to hike, you can actually, there's over 200 different ways to hike up, depending on the level of your level. You can actually hike up the mountain as well too. So it's definitely a must visit.
Wow. I remember going up and just being the clouds. I mean, because you are to some extent. And in fact, I remember we tried going one day and they said it's too cloudy. They closed it down. But this was such a great experience. I mean, and that's my husband. But I love this picture because I was in it, so I love it. But I love the way it captures and the juxtaposition between a human being on. This is one of my favorite pictures from on top of Table Mountain.
The ocean and the clouds actually meets. It's beautiful.
Oh, so stunning. And that's an African penguin. And that was really cool to see the little African penguins just chilling.
And it has to be said that this is the African penguin. This is actually the only where you can they're actually in their own natural habitats. There's nowhere else in their own natural habitats. So before, people used to get close to them, but now I'm trying to preserve them, that we don't get too close. But you can see them very close, up close.
Yeah.
as
And
well.
they were all over the place.
All over
I
the place.
mean, yeah. So is there a season?
You
Is
can,
there a
yeah.
Mhm.
Sorry. So yeah, usually, remember our when it comes to our weather, the weather is kind of opposite for what it is in the US. So right now we are pretty much running up our winter. So we're still in
Mhm.
winter and rounding up. So when it's winter, it's a little cold. So usually December is when it's a summertime. So it's a beautiful time. November, September onwards, it's around this time it's when you get to see them real close because now
Okay.
they're coming out. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically the seasons are flipped. That's how I think about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else. Oh, that's all the pictures. Let's see.
You don't have Robin Island? I should have.
Oh, why didn't I even think about including Robin Island? Duh, Boomy. Oh my. Again, that was another experience. Robin Island's on Cape Town. And when we went, we went with a tour and then they have a guide. And the guide is is a former prisoner of Robin Island. And I'll let you talk about that a little bit more.
So Robin Island itself is pretty much where Nelson Mandela spent most of his jail time. So I think his jail time was 25 years. He spent about 17 years in Robin Island. One thing that, especially when we're talking about South Africa, one thing that always get me, or one of my favorite thing about Nelson Mandela that I read was, when he was leaving Robin Island and the door opened, it made a statement, it said that day he decided that he's not taking any regrets, any unforgiveness. He left everything behind. And he said he walked out of that door, out of that gate, Robin Island, forgiven and a new person, completely free. And I felt like that was very, that's just amazing human. And I think that really is the history of Africa more than history of South Africa more than anything else. Nelson Mandela went on to become the first African president in South Africa and really led his people, to freedom. Pretty much. That's in general. So Robin Island is definitely a must visit, and you get to take the tour. You see where Nelson Mandela's prison. You see where you see they have a backyard where they used to do hard labor. The Nelson Mandela, the Robin Island also used to be a place where they used to actually dump people that have leprosy in there before as well. And what you did mention about the guards, all the guards actually freedom fighters, ex-prisoner at the Robin Island. So that's how they support them now. That's how they make the and they're leaving. So all the guards are all past prisoners that used to be in Robin Island. So they're very knowledgeable. They are kind, and they will give you the great history. It's amazing. It's a must visit. Definitely.
I mean, I remember, and I'm now kicking myself that I didn't include pictures. Mm-hmm.
We can do that. We can come back and add pictures in bottom. We can do that.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah.
And also to remember that Robin Islands is actually in the middle of the ocean. So that's the imagine being in the middle of the ocean as a prisoner, and you see all this beauty around you. There's no way out. So literally, it's the middle of an ocean. And so I think that was painful. That's painful.
Honestly, I mean, I remember that day so clearly. And speaking of the guides that lead you through the tour of the island and of the of Robin Island. I love how he incorporated his own personal experiences as a prisoner there into the tour. And he goes like, yeah, we were here and we were trying to communicate with that prisoner. And it just blows your mind, to see this elderly man, all the things that they've suffered. And like Bissy said, it's stunning. The island is stunning. So I'm like, that's such cruelty to lock someone up with no windows, no fences, nothing. And then literally a stone's throw away is this amazing, gorgeous, beautiful landscape. And they don't get for 17, how many years? 17 years? It's such a sombering, humbling experience that if you ever go to South Africa, that's something you should do.
And always so that we don't start on the sore note, end on the sore note.
So
The
no,
good
yeah.
part I also think with this with the guards are they have no anger. They are happy. Matter of fact, the guards and also some of the ex police officers or guards that were guiding them also work together.
Mm,
So their kids actually go to school together on Robin Island because now they have a community on Robin Island. They live on Robin Island. All the kids go to school together. So imagine a God that used to like be on top of them and be the one beating them, all of them reconciled, and now they all kind of live together. So it's
that's
still a
amazing.
story of forgiveness and reconciliation as well. So it's a beautiful story. So I don't want us to end up into
Yeah, yeah. No, and then again, like you said, I love how, the South African government is doing this intentionally, with the establishment of South African Heritage Month and all that. It looks like they just, even though it's not perfect, there's still a lot of history of discrimination. I mean, a lot of discrimination today. But at least they're forging a path forward, and they're doing it in an intentional manner. So I can appreciate that.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So oh my gosh, we can talk for forever. So we can just yeah for like, so I want to make sure we don't have any questions. Let me see, make sure we don't have any questions, and then we'll go into our discussion. Let's see. All right. Okay, no questions. Now we're gonna wrap up, as you know, with books, because that's what we do. So we talked about Born a Crime. We talked about that. Get that. And this, The Hidden Star. This is such a fantastic book. Again, talking about diversity and shattering the single story. When most people think about South Africa, they think Mandela, they think apartheid, shatter the single story. And what that means is showcase different aspects of cultures and countries. This is a Johannesburg. It is absolutely fantastic. We did not feature this in our monthly boxes, but it's in our empathy bundle, our fantasy bundle. So we'll drop all the links, all the information. We're going to drop all that for you. You know we do. So because it showcases a little girl, has the main character, a little South African Black girl, has the main in a futuristic novel. And this is for 9 years old, 10 and above. And then, of course, we have Lolo. I talk about Lolo a lot, the Lolo series. We featured this in our South Africa box. And again, it's one of my favorite. Actually, it's just a little girl just being regular. And I knocked my water again. I joke that I'm like almost 5'11", and I forget how long my limbs are. And I'm like, always like, second time, it's okay. I have cleanup duty after this. But anyway, Lolo is just a little girl, South African girl, just doing regular little girl stuff. Like, she's not saving the world. She's not running war. She's not a refugee. She's just being Lolo. And I love that because my pet peeve, I rant about this all the time, is children's books set in Africa. It's famine, refugee, war.
Yeah.
We're more than that, people.
We are way more than that.
Way more than that. So I love that. And then lastly is this one, which I know you've read.
Yes.
1,000 Steps.
Yes, I did. I read that. Yeah.
So this is really good because, again, it's the first, I think the second part is coming out soon. This is one of those ones where you read it, you have to read the second part. And it's a pretty good story. Apocalyptic South Africa. And that's what I like about it, because it's a different kind of, it's
And it's
almost
set
like
Victory Records. It's set on Table Mountain.
in
So I thought
Table
that was,
Mountain. It's
yeah.
set in Table. It's really, really cool. I mean, you have to be ready to read the second book too, because it leaves you on a cliffhanger.
Yes, I can't wait to read the second one. Definitely.
One. And it's very kind of like Hunger Games-ish.
Yeah. Yes.
So again, going to the fact that different countries should be featured, those kinds of futuristic novels, so that's why I wanted to show you guys this. So one last look, I can't talk. One last look at question. No questions. So okay, that's it, my dear. This was awesome. I mean, we chat like for hours.
Yeah, our chat is a 2 hour. We just say hi for 2 hours. And
yeah, like hey, and it's like, oh, 2 hours later, I have to go. I'm so glad you joined me on.
A pleasure, definitely.
This was awesome, and I loved, taking our followers on a very short, brief journey of South Africa, and thank you for joining us. That for everyone, my Atlas migrators, this month, Agile Wellness and Atlas Book Club are doing like this collaboration. So in 2 weeks, which is September, what date?
We'll say 24th, because that's when, around 24th, because maybe it's in 2 weeks now. Well, about
26th.
26th, okay.
Yeah, September 26th. I am going to be on Agile Getaway page, and now she's going to bring me into her world, and we're going to be talking about the importance of books and literature as a part of your wellness journey.
Definitely, and a quick virtual tour of Cape Town.
So you get to see more of that. So thank you, everyone. Hope you're having a lovely Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And if you can, dance to some Afro beats, because it makes your soul happy. All right, y'all. Thank you. Have a good one. Thanks, Bissy. Mwah, 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 mwah. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Let's stop. You get to see me for a little bit longer.